right, hey guys, my name is Karina Lane, your host for tonight at the University Rebel. I have my guest, Mr. Angel Cortez, who's going to be talking about how he got into coding and how he taught himself how to build his own app by solving a pretty typical problem in life and at our university. So, Angel, where did your story all begin? You know, you talked about The Matrix, that movie. You talked about hacking in The Matrix. You talked about your dad. You talked about curiosity. So, you know, just explain to the audience how you really got started in your niche of coding.
Okay. So, I was born in the Bronx, you know, grew up in the ghetto, poverty. A lot of my friends struggled growing up. And even when I moved out here to Connecticut, I still grew up in a rough place. But then, luckily, my stepfather got his act together and he found a stable job. So I was lucky enough to get opportunities, like when he gave me a couple of used laptops where I started messing around with computers. I got really interested and I became really curious with computers because of the laptops and because of, you know, it was the age where everyone was playing, you know, the Flash games, and everyone's like, oh, let's play, like, whatever, Free Rider, or all those cool little Flash games, like Kitty Cannon, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, this stuff is amazing. How do they do this? And, you know, growing up, I was always a very curious child. You know, I was taking things apart, taking batteries from a remote. My parents would always yell at me for taking batteries out of a remote because I'd be messing around with the toys and, you know, just coming up with weird, crazy things. And, you know, one of the most interesting things that, not interesting, but just like upsetting things about just the education system, at least in America, or at least where I grew up, is a lot of it kills curiosity and creativity because of the strict rigidness. It's like, all right, you need to study for this test, boom, move on to the next test, to the next test, to the next test. And they really don't let you really get your hands deep and dirty into the material. So, and I feel like that curiosity, that depth that you go into is what builds the motivation and the passion, and almost like that third eye that gives you the opportunities to see where there are problems that you can solve with a specific skill set, whether it's, you know, art, you know, writing, whether it's engineering, or, you know, actually creating services. That's where you get the actual ideas, is from building these skills. It gives you that third eye. And curiosity is a big part of my life, and a big part of, I think, entrepreneurship in general, is that it gives you that edge over those that are just like, oh, that's a piece of metal. No, this is an iPhone. This is literally a thing that can change the world in seconds, because it can send you information. Literally, all of human knowledge is accessible through this piece of metal.
Agreed.
Where if you're not curious, this would just be another piece of metal that I just put on the table. Mm-hmm. But curiosity is definitely a very important, you know, skill to have, and it's a must for entrepreneurs or anyone who's looking to make an impact.
Exactly. I mean, that's where it's at, because I ask, if anybody knows me, I've asked questions all the time. You know, I ask this gentleman a question, this woman a question. You know, you got to ask people who've been there and done it. You got to ask people, you know, questions, even just everyday people, like, yo, what do you struggle with? Like, what everyday function, like, you know, that you have to deal with that's causing you a problem? And that's where a lot of entrepreneurs kind of get, like, the feel of where they should invest their time in. It's not always about where the numbers play at. Sometimes it's about where the need is at. And if you're the one to discover it and execute it first, you know, having that third eye, being able to see opportunities that the public doesn't see.
Exactly.
That's one of the key motivators for entrepreneurship. And I think it's either you're born with it or it's something you have to develop because you want it.
Exactly.
You know, so getting back into, you know, coding, you know, what other things were you involved in other than coding? You know, like what else were you doing before that?
All right, so growing up, I was actually kind of chubby, but I played basketball. I played I played basketball for like a season or two. I played baseball for like one spring season, and I also did a lot more of martial arts. I did kickboxing, and that helped build a lot of the discipline that I now have today. It was really interesting because it motivated me and it showed me how powerful it is to be dedicated, but dedicated with a purpose, you know. And you can't achieve certain things in life without having a reason why. Like, why am I doing this? If you have a why, you're gonna find a way, you know. So it was definitely martial arts was definitely an important part in my life. But, you know, I also spent time in the arts. I played instruments. I played percussion. I played the drums. I was in concert choir. I was actually a soprano until I hit puberty, and my voice went to crap. And what else? I did art. So I did advanced art. So I was actually pretty good at drawing. But I actually put that stuff down. I don't know for what reason. Because that wasn't cool. So I stopped doing that in high school. But I did go into high school and I did play soccer, and in college I did play 2 seasons of rugby. So
rugby, that's where it's at. Me too.
Yeah. So it's definitely, I definitely like to dabble into different things. I actually did improv too for a while. I did that for a long time. So it's about the curiosity again.
Right.
Curiosity got me into all these things, and if I wasn't curious, I wouldn't really discover that, like, how interesting all these things are, like rugby, art, all that has a certain depth to it, and it gives you that perspective that most people don't see. It makes life so much more exciting.
Right. I also think that, when you're curious and you're willing to try new things, it's automatically going to put you in a pathway of failure. You're going to fail at something. You're going to not be good at something. But people think failure is like, I'm terrible. Like, I'm an embarrassment to society. I embarrass my parents. Because I think the education system teaches us that if you fail, you can't move on. If you fail, you got to stay back a year. You got to, retake a class. So most definitely getting involved in multiple things is which is really what shows you what needs to be. Like, you can play rugby. I played rugby too, and we could see that something on the field isn't right. And if you're an entrepreneur, you can pitch it to Canterbury or some big corporation, or do it yourself, and then boom, you have a need. But you wouldn't have known that if you didn't go in to play rugby. You wouldn't have known that if you didn't do martial arts. You wouldn't have known certain skill sets that you could develop if you didn't try. So I think trying and getting out there is a big thing. So what was some of your biggest general failures with coding? We got into the fact that you have an app called LiveFlyer. That's your big hit right now. That is what you're working on. That is your entrepreneurial endeavor. You see a need for it. So go a little bit into LiveFlyer and how long it took you. How many hours do you put into coding? You're just go into your failures, your positives, your failures, where it's going at. But we're going to talk about failures right now.
Okay. So with the app, I really didn't have the skill sets that I needed at the time when I started thinking about the idea about 2.5 years ago. So I had to push myself to learn these skills, like coding, like writing iPhone apps. That's definitely wasn't in my realm of possibility at the time, and I had to push myself, and I didn't do so hot the first time around. Like, I did fail a couple of times. Like, I did write an app that was slow. I was like, what the hell? Like, I won't be able to do this. There were points in times where I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. Like, I won't be able to do this. Like, why am I doing this? And a lot of the times it was when I took a break, when I stepped away, and I reminded myself why I was doing this, I kept pushing forward, and I always found a solution. And it's like a lot of times we're given that advice that just keep pressing, keep pressing, keep pressing. But that doesn't really, that burns you out more than anything. And sometimes, you don't have to constantly be working on something to be working on something. Psychologically speaking, we think about things even subconsciously. So even if you're not like, all right, programming right now, doesn't mean your mind's not trying to solve a problem that's in the back of your head. And, that happens with anything, whether it's like relationships where you keep replaying things in the back of your head. Your mind is slowly trying to solve those problems in your head, even if you're not currently thinking about it. So the same thing goes with business, engineering, any kind of, mentally intense endeavor. So, I did fail a couple times with that. I had to learn some skill sets like graphic design. I drew a bunch of ugly logos before I came up with a decent one. While writing this, there were some times where I took huge periods off, and I thought I was never going to come back to it. But at the end of the day, I sat down and I remembered why I started in the first place.
Right.
Why did I start doing this?
Right.
And I remember the purpose, and I got back to it.
Right.
And, it wasn't until November where I planned on releasing the app, I think the 3rd of November or something like that, and the app was rejected 6 times. 6 times. It was ridiculous. It was for mundane things.
Gosh.
Apple was really, trying to... They were really vague in their explanations for what they wanted to change, and they were really happy with the changes that I did make. It was mostly on, blocking and user safety, but I got all those issues fixed, and I submitted it one last time. I was like, all right, if they don't accept this, I guess I'm gonna stop doing it, or whatever, shut down the company. But while I was doing something random, I just saw my phone and they notified me, that the app's on the App Store. Right. And I was amazing. It was the best feeling ever. All this work actually came.
It actually,
it actually happened,
for you, right? I mean, you're just
crap.
holy, I feel it too. You just gotta keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. I mean, that's just perseverance.
Yeah.
Perseverance it is entrepreneurship, and you're right. You can't burn yourself out to the ground because you're gonna go insane.
Exactly.
Sometimes you gotta walk away and say, I'm done. For example, my website, it was giving me a hard time, but I went away to London for 11 days. I was able to take a break, and I was able to slowly work my way to a possible a fix for my website. I was able to find somebody who was able to give me the answer. But if I kept festering on it, I could have been bye.
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm done. So just explain a little bit, going into your app itself. Why are you creating Live Flyer? Why do you feel like it's a need for this app? What's so important about it where you feel like the society, the public, the Western Connecticut State University, and other universities, those communities, why do they need your app?
All right, so one of the biggest things, it started out as a selfish, need. I need this because at the time, I was one of those kids that's school, I'm only here for school, and I got burnt out a lot of the times, and the times that I did try to relax and go out and have a good time, I went out, plans fell through, or someone stopped throwing a party, or someone got sick. So the 2 or 3 times I went out a semester were both horrible. And it was just depressing. It was what the hell? This is supposed to be college. There's always something to do. I just don't know the right people.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's always the thing is there's always something going on, but you just need to know the right people.
Right.
And I was like, man, that shouldn't be the case. If there's something going on, I should be able to go to it. I'm paying so much damn money to go to school. I should be having a good time when I want to have a good time.
Right.
So I was like, oh my God. And I was it was right after a night that I had a horrible night. Plans fell through, and I didn't go out. I stayed in, and I didn't even know what I did. I think I played Sorry or something in the board game. It was horrible. And then we went to Three Brothers local diner, and I was going through Snapchat. Snapchat was still new to me, and I was like, what the heck? Look at all these parties. How come I didn't know about this?
Right.
And I was like, why isn't there an app where they can just share event stuff, any event stuff? All the time I would see oh, I'm going to see Aladdin for $25. I'm like, what the hell? How come I didn't know about this? And I was like, damn, if I was a commuter, I would know even less. Damn, I'm paying so much for all this stuff and I'm missing out. And I'm like, I don't want to miss out anymore. So I thought about the idea. I was like, oh, what if we just create a digital bulletin board where we can just see everything that's going on, and I can just literally pick, oh my God, that's a party, I want to go to that. Or, oh, chess club, I don't want to go out tonight because I have work tomorrow or something. Let me go do something chill. it's like there's always something going on. So if
Mhm.
we can have a place where like I don't have to be your friend or I don't have to know the right people, I just need to be a part of the community.
Right.
That's the only thing that's stopping me from finding cool things to do. Is I just need to be part of Western's community, and that will help me find the people that I want to hang out with. Because you know, there's always that party scene, the party crowd. People like to go out every weekend, but you know, I like to do that from time to time. But sometimes I want a low key night where I do something just chill. Maybe see someone like play an instrument or something, and eat sandwiches.
Maybe
like,
watch a pack movie.
Yeah, maybe watch a pack movie. Like not go out, just like chill. Like I want to be able to know what's going on. Like if maybe I'm excited for the night. Maybe I just got an A on the exam and I just want to go. I want to go in.
Right.
I want to go ham.
Right.
So, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna have a good time. And with Live Flyer, hopefully that's a guarantee.
Hopefully.
That's what I'm praying. You know, it all depends on the community. It all depends on what Western wants. And if it's not the app they need, I will make it the app they need and they want and they deserve.
Right.
So that's the whole purpose, man. I want people to get involved, to feel connected, to have real connection with Western and with the people around them. So.
Right. And I think, I mean, that's very empowering because you, as an entrepreneur, you're taking your ego and what you said that how you were like it was a little bit about you at first. You're taking your ego and you're putting it on the back burner for the people, the public, the market, as they say in entrepreneur terms, to take your product and tell you this is what we want. So your goal might be here, and all entrepreneurs have that like initial vision. This is what I want, but you're willing to let the market curve your product and mold it into what they want. And I think that's really important about letting the market create your product, because I mean, hello, like they're the one who's engaging with it. You know,
exactly.
They're the investors. They're the one who, if they see your product really doing good, they're going to be the ones who are going to invest in your product, or partner, or people who want to, companies who want to partner with you. They're going to want to partner because they see the market engaging to the fullest extent. So entrepreneurs sometimes have to say, maybe what I want to do ain't what everybody else want to do who want to use my service or product. So I think that's very bold of you and to do that. So, going into the wrap up, there are kids who code at 14. There are kids who code at 12. There are people who start learning code at 50. There are people who are in hard situations like you once were when you were growing up in poverty. People who feel like they have no hope in the world. I mean, people who want to be an entrepreneur, but there isn't a hacker space or an Eric, in their environment. What do you say to those kids? What do you say to those people who have a special skill set like coding? What's your advice to really go hard body with it to achieve their dreams and goals?
All right, so with that, like, I feel like it's really important to kind of set like an end goal for you. Like I said earlier on in the interview, like, you need to have some sort of purpose. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why am I creating this product? Why am I working out? Why do I, paint every day? Why do I play the piano every day? What is the end game for this? If you have that vision, that end goal, you will motivate yourself to continue to do it because you see that you have not achieved your goal. And if it's a greater purpose, like my app's reason for existence is to make it easy for people to find people that are like them, people who enjoy the same things as them.
Right.
So they actually have like real relationships, not like, social media right now where it's just like maintaining current relationships, which might not be the best, or just like liking some corporate whatever,
right.
or your favorite team. It's not.
It takes the humanity and the personalization out of it, social media, and your app is going to bring people together, kindle new relationships, kindle new bonds, make lifetime commitments, marriage, friends, etc. That's one of your goals.
Yeah, but with people that are like-minded, like you, that enjoy the same things that you like, so it's not artificial, and it's like relationships by choice. And that idea motivates me because it's something it's so unfortunate that it doesn't exist, that I want it to come to be real. And I can't I can't live knowing that I have the opportunity to make such a thing happen. And that's what motivates me. And once you have something like that, once you find a problem that could potentially, solve millions of people's or even thousands of people's or maybe even hundreds of people's problems, you will have the motivation to continue going.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that every day I'm putting in 18 hours like most people would give you advice to do that. Sometimes it's important, like I said earlier, to take a break. So one, your mind is constantly trying to solve the problem, even if you're not thinking about it on a conscious level. Your mind is working on it in the background to solve the problem. And when you come back with a new perspective. Because maybe you went to a new place, like when you went to London and Dublin, like you got to see
phenomenal experience.
It's a different world. It's a different world, and it gets you out of the mind. So you're thinking outside of your environment. So it creates new neurons. So like psychologically and physically, you're a new person. And you come back with new experiences, so you can tackle the problem with energy and with new perspective.
Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is what it is. Angel gave his advice to everybody. He shared his story. Make sure you follow the blog. Make sure you follow everything that we have going on. We have the YouTube page. We have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Snapchat. Follow the blog. Follow everything. Make sure you get on Angel's app, Live Flyer, in the App Store. Am I correct? With the iPhones, make sure you get on. He is in the current process of developing, hopefully, the Android version so everybody can get a piece of the action. And thank you for tuning in. Have a good night, guys. Bye. Guys, make sure you catch Live Flyer. The link is in the bio, and see you next time.